Welcome to the Vet Med Wellness and Leadership Podcast, where we discuss central challenges vet med leaders face, such as burnout, stress, and difficult interactions with clients and staff, just to name a few. In each episode, you will hear about actionable solutions that you can apply to your practice and invitations to connect with fellow leaders who are passionate about improving the wellness of the vet med profession. By subscribing, liking, commenting, or sharing this podcast, you are helping more veterinary professionals find the resources shared in these episodes. Thank you in advance for listening and supporting this show. I hope you enjoy it. Hey, everybody. Crystal Stokes here, and joining me today is Andrea Tschakert. She is a veterinary medicine professional who has been in almost every aspect of practice, large, small, exotic, and ER, and now she's serving in a leadership role. She's also the mother of 5, age ranges 28 to 6. And the first 3 of those little munchkins she raised all by herself on a very mediocre VA salary, which says a lot about her resilience and strength. Also, she has an assortment of pets, and she said she is not afraid to adopt again. So today we're going to be talking about 2 of her favorite topics in vet med, culture and money. And Andrea, thank you so much for being with us today. I wanted to start off with a little icebreaker of one of your most memorable or favorite animal experiences.
Oh, thank you, Crystal. There's so many. There are so many just from every avenue that I've been on my journey in this field. One in particular that I love, I think is probably one of my favorite, is just starting in this field. Very, very green, but super eager. And I think we've all been there. We just really want to go out of our way to impress and just show up and work super hard. And lo and behold, that particular day that I started, it was cattle. We had a cow come in. And she had a prolapse. And I didn't even know what that meant at the time. I just knew that I just wanted to be a part of it. So I thought, and lo and behold, she got away from us. And she went tooling down the road in between a car dealership. And I followed suit. My manager was there. I was working hard to impress her. So I followed right behind her as fast as I could, had no idea what I was getting myself into. And this cow was on the fight. And so she turned around and came after us. My boss knew what to do, being a cowgirl. I had no idea. We managed getting her roped back in and getting her back to the clinic, but I'll never forget that. I had to go home and really reevaluate how much I wanted this job, but it's memorable, and here I am all these years later.
Herding cows. That's a great story. Actually, it's not that far away from what I think we're talking about today. When I think of culture, sometimes I think of herding cats, actually. Yep. So how about we're diving in today, culture and money, and we were going to start with culture. So let's start with your take. What does culture even mean to you in vet med?
You know, I love this because it's such an intriguing thing in everything that we do. And as long as I've been in the field, I've watched it manipulate and grow and shrink and manifest into other things generation after generation. And one would say culture comes full circle, but I think it's actually a figure 8. I think it takes some loops and some dives and some dips. It really is how we compartmentalize everything we do in a day. I think that's what the culture is. You know, it's just that recipe of how we process the people and their pets and then our personal lives each and every day. And I think that's the recipe in vet medicine. And like I said, it's so interesting now with the younger generation coming into the field. Again, I joke about cattle work, and that's almost becoming obsolete in our profession now. Our animals are becoming our children, and they're becoming war heroes and police officers. And I would say when I started this, I wouldn't have believed that in a million years, but I love to see it cultivate in everything that we do, and the people as well. I think it's really interesting.
Oh, I see many different avenues we can take. So one thing you're speaking to is that culture has been shifting through time, new generations rising and other ones falling, that affects the culture. What if we start with what you perceive to be some of the central challenges around culture in vet med?
Yeah. Again, I think that it goes to how I have to bring up compartmentalize everything. When I first started, again, it was a lot of ma and pa kind of vet med, and there was a large animal component that was married into that, and we were doing a lot of livestock for livelihood, right? And so, as tough cowgirls and cowguys, we would just, put on our best face and go in every single day, and we wouldn't let our job affect us that much. And as the changes start coming in, again, like I said, we start seeing, more people more attached to their dogs. They're not working dogs and outside cats and dogs anymore. We've brought them inside, we've named them, we put clothes on them, we paint their toes and color their hair. And they become just a part of all of our memories in every picture. And there's just not a term anymore for the loss of that pet. And I think that is probably the biggest deficit that we're seeing. When we would lose a pet before, it was sad. It was definitely sad. But now there's a thicker sense of grieving that goes along. And I don't think that we have psychologically added the necessities that we need into vet medicine to help us process what our owners are going through and what we're experiencing throughout the day.
That's very much where we've seen the rise of veterinary social work coming in. That's relatively new to help have a professional that works within the office, the practice, to help the clients with processing grief or making hard decisions, to help the staff with what they face every day and caring for animals, sometimes euthanizing animals, all the stress that goes into right now we're experiencing very high volumes of clients and long waiting lists. So how do you deal with people that may be angry or frustrated? There are many different elements that the stress levels are higher than they were in the past.
It's true. And you think about it, they're, compressing appointments into 15-minute time frames. And so we're not even giving veterinary professionals time to go through that grieving process. We're short-staffed, so we can't really integrate another technician so we can take that time for ourselves. And again, we just slide it into a little compartment and we try to deal with it later. But I don't know that later ever comes. I think that it's still in that cubby hole and we just keep cramming more things in that space until we just combust.
If we could have everybody that would be listening to this episode say a hallelujah right now, I think that we'd have plenty of people saying, compartmentalization can be a skill when used at the right time. And I think what you're saying is that in vet med, you perceive that compartmentalization is being used to an extreme, that each day can be so challenging. And the only thing we can do in the moment is to set it aside and say, put it in a box, slide it under the bed, deal with that emotion later. But later never comes. So we're becoming bankrupt in a way. There's this void of being able to really process these difficult experiences. So we're circling around this as one of the challenges that you're seeing when it comes to company culture within your practice. Right. How about ways of addressing this? First of all, how do we measure that it's even happening? Are there ways, like indicators that you can guide us towards that you see within your practice that let you know we might be entering the danger zone of over compartmentalizing the emotional and physical stress that we're experiencing right now?
Crystal, I wish I had the answer to that. I really do. I think that would take us out of the number one point of suicide. If I or anybody had that answer, I would tell you, after giving it a lot of thought, I would say we need to probably reassess how important veterinary medicine is to just the common people. I know when you lose a family member, there's automatically grief counselors that come in and they will talk to you and they will help you process. And I think that we could kind of smirk and say, well, that's a little overkill. I don't think so. I really don't. I couldn't tell you how many clients I've had to ask them, are you okay? And do you need a ride home? Or technicians that have just absolutely broke down because they've known that pet its whole entire life. And so I think we need to be super diligent of it. And I think we need to talk about it a lot more first thing in the morning. And I think we need to give our technicians the space. Whatever that looks like, give them that space, and don't insist that they put on that happy face and get into the next room with the puppy. Mm-hmm. and try to smile. I think that it is only fair that we start recognizing it clearly as a society. And that means as you being the client as well, just try to wrap your head around what it is that we do in a day. It's a lot, and I know I don't want to take anything away from human nurses and human doctors. I think, I thank God every day for them, but I would just challenge people to think we're on that same spectrum. We deal with lives every single day, and maybe we could use a little bit more grace in our field.
Bringing the humanity back, to the humans. Wouldn't that be wonderful? I love the message that you're sharing, and you highlight a good point, which is that it is a very complicated issue that we're facing. And if we had the answer, we'd already be applying it. That right now we are a big group of seekers. Some of us come at it from a more personal angle. Some of us look at the system at large. You're looking at it from a societal perspective. So there's so many different layers that we can examine as to why this is happening the way it is. Right. I wonder if we could talk some about ways that you may be trying to create solutions or care for the culture within your practice. The island that you have there in North Carolina. What are you all doing?
So I like to be straightforward. I like to be transparent as I possibly can be, almost to a default, with my staff and with my clients. I like to post whenever we have a pet that's being euthanized. Please be considerate. There is a family saying goodbye to their loved one. We like to dim the lights. We light an angel candle, angel holding a dog. I like it to be very visual and in their face, and not to be sad and depressing, but to bring rationalization to what the technicians and what the hospital is going through, and the family, of course, what everybody's going through right now, because awareness is how we solve this issue internally. If we wait for solutions, it'll be another 10 years, and we will lose more vets and we will lose more technicians, and it's not necessary. I also like to see in the morning, I like to do a pulse check on my team. I like to look at our schedule and say, Miss Jones is coming in with Sammy for euthanasia today. Carrie, I know that you were very close to Sammy. Would you feel comfortable doing this, or would you like Jenny to go in and do this euthanasia? And I like to have a conversation before that pot boils over, so to speak. Really like to start the conversation immediately. And that way I can kind of gauge how much focus I need to have on that said technician, Mm-hmm. And I allow them space and grace. If it's too much, take the day. Take the day to go, get yourself well, do some self-love, and come back, and tomorrow's a brand new day. But I like to recognize, I guess. That's what I do in my clinic is I just am transparent, and then I recognize I'm here with you guys. What do you need? And same with my staff. Thank you for your patience. I appreciate that, for you understanding our appointments are a little delayed. And I just really appreciate that. And that's what I do as a PM, is just make sure that, my face is out there, with the staff and with the clients through the process.
That's really beautiful. I very much appreciate your willingness to just call out the elephant in the room, even mm-hmm. preemptively, to say, let's look at the schedule for the day and what we're facing. Let's look at the reality of it. This is going to be a hard day. Let's go ahead and plan with how we can pull together and support each other to get through it as best we can as a team. And then you are able to have the long game in mind, that by having a short-term sacrifice of having somebody off the floor for the rest of the day, you're slightly less productive for the rest of that day. But if that person can take the time to work with their grief, take care of themselves physically and emotionally, and then know that they're being cared for by their company, they're much less likely to quit. And right now, what we experience more than anything is high turnover. Well, that's a way of preventing turnover. So longevity of your company is also taken care of with that act of kindness that you are instigating at your company.
It depends on it. It really depends on it. And again, you said it right from the very beginning. Let's just bring humanity back. Let's start being humans again.
Wouldn't that be lovely? Something I think a lot about, what very much motivated me to return to vet med. I'm kind of one of those full circle people who loved it my whole life as a child, undergraduate, pre-vet, working in vet med. And then through a lot of experiences, exactly what you're describing, I left vet med. I was really tortured by euthanasia for financial reasons. I just couldn't be a part of it. And stepping away from it, I moved fully towards humans, and I worked only with humans and not animals at all. And then eventually I found my way back to vet med, full circle, working on the side of bringing humanity back to the humans, of saying, how can we take these people who give so much every day? They're some of the most empathic, caring, generous, hardworking, smart people I've ever met. Yet they are getting burned out, yet they are experiencing suicidal ideation. What is going on? This cannot be allowed. We have to do something different. And it starts on the grassroots level. Like you said, if we wait for some top-down magical solution to fall from the sky, we might wait 10 more years. So why not start at your individual practice? So listening to Andrea today, getting inspired, getting ideas for what are some of the things that you might start doing differently at your practice? If you're in a leadership position, or not, even if you're not in a leadership position, maybe you're a new technician, but you have a voice, and to be able to speak up and say, hey, that was really difficult for me today, and I need some time and I need some help. Another thing I'll mention as a psychotherapist, grief also needs, the healing process of grief is really facilitated by being in connection with others. So we're a very independent culture. And I think people that work in vet med tend to be independent by nature, kind of go-getters. And as soon as we think we should be able to get through all this on our own, just crawl under the porch and lick our wounds until we feel better. But in reality, knowing that your team can rally around you and support you, and you have people you can go to inside and outside of your team to really talk about how difficult some of your days may be, that can also be so helpful. And it sounds like you have that going on in your practice, where you all do, from a daily basis, you talk about what's coming up and how it may be difficult.
Yeah, we do in the morning, and we do at the evening too. We do decompression at the end of every single day. Let's not take it home. Let's do our 5-minute rant here. Let's decompress what was good about the day and what was, things that we want to put away for, tomorrow, so that they don't interfere with our day tomorrow. I just said that really, it's a very small step, but it's really the best and most important is keeping that dialect going.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of introverts at my job, and I think I make them talk more than they have their whole entire life, because it's important to me. It's important to me that they feel a part of the team, and it's important for me to recognize that they feel engaged. So.
Oh, I was like, I want you to be my manager. I think back when I was a vet tech, it would have been wonderful to have a PM that was like you, that was drawing us out, curious about how we were doing, and really there to protect us. Are there any other elements of culture that you would like to speak to? Like, for instance, knowing that there's this kind of newer generation coming in, being in a role where you may be deciding on hiring and cultivating a team. How do you think about that, of really growing and cultivating the team, the newer generation coming up, blending with the older generation for the most successful recipe possible?
Boy, oh boy, that's a loaded
roll up your sleeves.
I've thought about that 100 times because, I still have baby boomers in my full circle of vet medicine. And it is so funny because it goes back to what I was saying about my little bovine experience. There was a lot of things that you you just couldn't say. If I called in to take a mental health day, they would have said, great, have as many as you want while you're looking for another job. Because again, it was not socially correct. But here we are now, and now we have so much technology. I think that we're desensitized to a lot of emotions. I'm not a psychologist. I think that everybody in the nation would say our kids are, raising a teenager. I can see that in him sometimes. And there's a lot of things that they're missing out, those steps in growing up. And so I try as hard as I can to not use that as a deficit against the hospital and the team, and try to find something socially that would blend them so that it wouldn't limit them to being a good worker. I know the phones are kind of a big deal at my job, having the phones out. And so, I've made a couple responsible for Facebook. It's your job to post. I want you to post every hour, something great about our pets that come in the door, or, just asking price checks on certain things. What did you come up with, and then, just marrying in technology into that and using that as stewardships of things that they can, cultivate for themselves, anesthesia machines and dental machines, and making sure that they're taken care of appropriately. It's the only thing that I have found that works. If there was something else, I would say to just, marry the two cultures. Once again, it is boiling down to just conversation. We're dealing with a huge age gap, and medicine isn't practiced the same way it was 10, 20 years ago. Thank goodness, we're growing. And now we've got a new group that are coming in, and we should teach them some of the skills that we have. It's almost like grandma's cooking, right? You want to keep that recipe going.
That's so sweet. I really appreciate your perspective on, leveraging their talents, the things that they are interested in. Just try to weave them in, be creative, and give them opportunities to kind of use some of those skill sets that are new and up and coming. I wonder if this is a good transition to segue into our second topic, which is talking about money. Because I think about this topic for so many people can be really loaded. And I think you have a refreshing way of saying, it's actually not too loaded. It can be more simple. And you have some nice practices that you say, just boiling it down, you're a good bottom liner when it comes to money. So let's go into some of those bottom line perspectives that you have around money in your practice.
Money has always been, to me, the measurement of good medicine. I love it. I think the more money you make, the better medicine you're doing. I think when you're making more medicine, you have more opportunities to even do better medicine. And so I try to tell my team that we really need to leave that up to the client, right? Don't X-ray their pocketbook. Let's give them all the necessities that they can make a healthy decision for their pet, and not assume when they walk in the door that is too much financially. Again, like I said, at the end of the day, I like to salute my team. We did excellent medicine today, and I like to share with them what it is that we did medicine-wise. Let's push ourselves tomorrow. We have more clients coming in the door. Let's do even better medicine tomorrow. And so for me, yes, I do. I love money. It is the measurement of great medicine in my hospital.
Mm-hmm. Well said. When you think about practices that are trying to find creative ways, maybe to save money in certain areas, do you have any ideas around that they may not have thought of?
Yeah. So my hospital is quite small. In fact, it was an old bank. And so there's not a lot of storage in our unit, in our hospital, excuse me. And it was probably the biggest challenge whenever I walked in, because I think a lot of hospitals go through those growing pains where the hospital is just too small and you're combusting, and then what do you do? And so getting the team on board with our online pharmacy has been lucrative and has saved us quite a bit of money. It's also super convenient for our clients. We always like to, start the conversation with supporting your hospital by going to our online pharmacy. And so whenever it's said like that, it's a little bit easier to digest, paying online pharmacy price as opposed to big ticket pharmacies. So that has always been super helpful. We don't have a lot of retail space also, so I try to limit our food space to our smaller size bags that we can actually send home that day, instead of housing those larger supply bags. And again, just talking to our clients about, starting a cycle monthly to have those delivered. It's really, really helped, especially our elderly, just because it is right there at their doorstep for them. So they don't have to carry it from their car to their door. Another thing that we have done to kind of help that is, using our vendors. We spend a lot of time speaking with our pharmacy reps, and we give them a lot of our time. We definitely give them a lot of our money. And so make friendships with them. Have them support some of your events that you do. You'd be surprised financially how much help you can get from your vendors. In fact, they had a nice tech week for us. So talk to them and reach out to them. And don't be afraid to use your community. In the past, I have solicited some hotels for towels to help us. It seems like those are pretty expensive in vet hospitals, and the generic sign, hey, customers, if you have any towels, bring them and drop them off. It's almost like laundry, and I think it's kind of tasteless, but it's not as bad as calling the hotels. They recycle towels over and over again, and it's just a nice way to save money.
Smart. I like that. So for those listening, I think many hospitals I've worked with have space issues, right? Inventory. They don't know where to put it. It's overflowing. It's on the floor. So this is a great idea. The online pharmacy, also keeping your inventory to the smaller sizes, setting your clients up on like the monthly auto ship. We can deliver it straight to your house. And then thinking of creative ways to get some of your needs met, like where you get towels from a hotel, or using your vendors for different events. Like some vendors will even provide continuing education credits that veterinarians need in order to maintain their licensure. So all those ways are very smart. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. How about anything with like curbside? I know that was a big thing that happened with COVID. Is that still present in your practice? And does that help you from a financial perspective?
It really does. We have four doctors, and we have three exam rooms. And so curbside has still been very, very, very convenient for our clients. I think just us in general as consumers, we like to pull up to Walmart or to the grocery store and have them pack them in our car after we ordered them, the night before. And I don't think that our clients are much different. I think that they really liked the service of pulling up and, scrolling on their phone, doing, a little bit of work, and having their pet go inside and get the care that they need. And so we've kind of used that to our ability, with QR codes, giving them some literature that has either our online pharmacy or ways to save money. We've just established a new Facebook page, so they get 5% off if they like and share and comment on our Facebook right now. So it's a way to get them a little bit of a discount, but them also to, just become a part of the family, via social media. And so, again, another thing vendors will do is they will print out curbside signage with your pharmacy. And so reach out to them for that, because that's the best time to do it, is when they're parked in your parking lot. It tells you which parking lot that they're in, and then the QR to your pharmacy is right there. And that's made our job tons better.
Wow. I love how you're leveraging technology so much. That's really fun. Really good idea. Final note on money. I'm wondering if you have any best practices or perspectives from all the years you've been in vet med and your current position as a PM, in balancing the revenue that's coming in and then how you're taking care of your people, how that may also contribute to the good culture that you're trying to build within your practice.
So one of the reasons I wanted to be a PM is I knew how important it was to be the liaison between the client, the customer, and the doctor, or the client, the patient, and the doctor. And that has kind of been my end mission in my role right now, is how do we financially elevate our job skills, right? They're emotional. I think that there should be a better compensation. And so I always just tell my staff, let's keep doing good medicine. The numbers will show. That makes me have a little bit more leverage when I sit down and talk to my general manager about promotions. And the other thing is, I think that bringing back profit sharing is crucial. It invests your staff. They feel like they're bought into the business. It retains them. And I would challenge corporate America and say that could be the key that you're missing to keep quality technicians with your company and have them buy into what it is that we're doing here. It is such an injustice what our pay scale is for some of the things that we do.
I totally agree. And I think there is a wave that is coming. I think that we're starting to ride a wave where these things are starting to change. And so it's nice to have conversations about it, bringing people back to having some sort of incentive and buy-in, that what they are contributing to is something that they're invested in for the long run. And it's not just a job they're punching in, punching out, but they really are here for the organization, and the organization's here for them.
And that's what I do. When I say, it comes in a figure eight, that is one thing that the small businesses in the day would consider doing that for all of their employees, is profit sharing. They were as passionate about the clients and the pets that came in the building as they were about their employees. And I think that I think that's been distilled through time. And I think we need to get that back.
Lovely. So in bringing things to a close today, I'd like to ask you, what are some of your favorite things about working as a PM?
Everything. I haven't worked a day in my life, honestly, because I do everything I love every day since I was 4. I really enjoy talking about what it is that I love so much. And if you go back to that 6 and 8-year-old child that we all were, where we would catch frogs and turtles, and we would go and show our friend that was more apprehensive, and we would educate them in our 8-year-old self about said turtle, lizard, or cat or dog. I think that is the nostalgia that I still carry all these years, is still being able to educate people about animals.
That is so beautiful. It gives me tingles. It's so fun to have this conversation with you today, Andrea, and your passion, as well as your intelligence around, everything that you've seen over the years, how you're thinking about it from a systemic point of view. And I really hear a lot of curiosity, that you are watching everything around you, you're observing, you're doing your best to stay in conversation and take care of the people around you, nurture them, help them live their best life and enjoy their work. And you're also very practical. You're looking at the financials, and you know that money is the lifeblood of an organization, and you have to have it in order to continue. So I really like how you can hold multiple complex matters all at once and really maintain such a positivity and passion for what you do.
It's been easy. Yeah. I would be lying to say it's been hard. It's just been easy. I absolutely love it every single day. I really do. The good and the bad. I just love it.
Well, and also greetings from North Carolina. Everybody, she's in North Carolina, and I was there also, Raleigh. We were in the same town. Go Wolfpack. I don't know if you're a Wolfpack fan. It's okay if you're not. I won't be mad. And for those people listening today, if anybody would like to get a hold of you, let's say they just want to connect and say, hey, PM to PM, they might want some mentorship, or just to reach out and ask some questions about some of the concepts that you had today, where is the best place for them to find you?
It's always easy to find me. Email me at atschakert11@gmail.com.
Great. I will put that in the show notes, so you guys feel free to reach out anytime. And Andrea, I really appreciate you being on today. It's been such a pleasure.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. Thank you, Crystal.
Thank you for joining me today. I hope that you feel stoked after listening to this episode. And as always, I would love to hear your comments and feedback. Is there a topic that you want to know more about? Please let me know. And thank you again for subscribing and sharing your favorite episodes with others. It really means a lot.